Good evening and welcome to another episode of All Things Honest with Clarisse. Today we have with us, or tonight rather, we have with us a special guest from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, and that is Hassan here. I just made my way from Zanzibar to Dar es Salaam yesterday, and I had the good fortune of meeting Hassan, who is a young Tanzanian artist doing all things to bring art into the community, to galleries, as well as to young children as well. He was telling me yesterday about how he is teaching art as well as a budding artist. So Hassan, I would like you to introduce yourself to everybody.
Thank you, Madam Clarisse. My name is Hassani Amiri. I'm a visual artist. Also, I do freelance. I teach art. I teach young artists on how to do their creativities, to bring life, their creativity on pencils, portraits, on their paintings, oil paints, and also acrylic. Thank you. I think that's good.
Thank you, Hassan. So please tell us a little bit more about yourself. So you've just told us the kind of art you do. I know that yesterday you were telling me you're still trying to find your style, right? Can you maybe tell us how old you are, and then take us to when you first began art? What sort of, triggered the passion in you for art?
Yeah, I'm 24 years old now, and have been doing art since I was young in primary school. When first I started doing my art, it was just like I sat at the class and I took a pencil and think about the environment, and I started drawing some trees and drawing some mountains. And at that day, when I was in primary school, the next day it was just a day for parents coming, and every kid has to show what he can do on the talent. I'm not a footballer, I'm not a basketballer. So at that time, on me with my parents, I just removed what I did yesterday, and it was a painting. And from there, my mom and my dad, they were very impressed on what I did, and they said like, yeah, this is what you can do. Now from there, I started knowing myself that instead of studying only, I have another thing that I can do to make my life good. Because every time when I touch my pencils, I touch paintbrush, I feel free on myself. Yeah, I feel creativity. I feel I need to say a story on my paper. Every time I see the nature, I see different story about African kids, about the African life, I feel like I have to transfer the situation into the paper. Yeah, and about the style of what I'm doing, I could say like I'm very talented, that I do different paintings, different drawings with different materials. I don't only use graphite pencil, but also I use charcoal pencils, I don't use only color pencils. I also use pastels. I don't use ink. I also use pens. I'm finding the nature of me. By combining them all together, maybe I can get something very different from other artists. And it's gonna be epic. Yeah, I could
Thank
say
you.
that.
So yeah, it seems like you started art a very long time ago, obviously in primary school. Can you tell us more about how your art has evolved since that time, and also how the environment has shaped it, right? Because we find ourselves, and I think you were telling me yesterday about how you've grown up in very different parts of Tanzania. You've moved around and all of that. So can you tell us how the environment itself has shaped and evolved your art, and why for you it's very important to emphasize, I think you mentioned children as well as nature in your art?
Yes, I could say in Africa, the opportunity of work is very low. So having a talent is just a step of you having a certain thing that can give you income. Now from there, I click on my head that with this I can do something for myself and also for my family. Because at this time, art is very expensive. I could say that art is very expensive. And what's the best thing? Me traveling to different countries here in Africa, in Tanzania, it's just the way of me learning different stuff. Because because I started at Morogoro, then I shifted to Arusha when I went to get my secondary school. After that, I came for university here in Dar es Salaam at Kigamboni, and all those journey, all those steps, it's just I started meeting different people on my way of studying and also my way of art. I met different artists, met different people who do different art structure. Yeah, and the best thing on me is that I could feel like I need to do art more than a work, more than a spirit, because art is something that is natural, you know, and something that speaks, you know. Art speaks a lot. Art speaks a lot, you know. Art speaks a lot on politics, on culture, on environment. So here in Tanzania there is different titles. People are hungry, I could say that. People are having terrible stars. Maybe I could speak to the world through my art on the lifestyle of Tanzania. I could say that. Yeah.
No, that sounds amazing. And how do you think that maybe the environment, like Tanzania itself, has fostered your art in the sense that what is the ecosystem here to support young artists like yourself?
First of all, thanks to my parents, I could say that, because are the one who supports me a lot. Here in Tanzania, in the matter of art, of our art, because in music, people support a lot in music here in Tanzania. In acting, people support a lot. But you know, drawing is just a local thing, you know, here in Tanzania. People don't support it a lot. But what's good, there is centers here in Tanzania. I could mention them, which almost supported me on my art.
Okay.
Nafasi Art Space, shout out Smudge, Rangi Gallery, I could say that. In Nafasi Art Space is the place there where I met a lot of international artists from different countries, and also the ones who are inside the country who they've done big things, like Amani Abeid. He's the one who inspires me a lot on doing this visual art. So are the ones who supports me a lot, and I'm still learning my art through different structures like YouTube channels. I watch a lot YouTube channels on drawings. So that's just a way of supporting myself on drawing. And on the matter of having new generation on what we're doing, it's just a personal effort. There are some people who are having just these camps which they use to collect these young artists, you know, like Mr. Ernest Mtaya. He collects young kids who are really inspired on doing art, you know, and he collects them together and he teaches them on how to do their things very, very big. I would say that, yeah.
How do you think we can make art grow, right, beyond what it is right now in Tanzania or what it is in Africa? Because you mentioned that there's a lot of financial support, if I could say, behind music and behind acting, movies, right? But in terms of the visual art, which is what you're working on and which is what we're speaking about here, there's less support in that respect. So what could be done to sort of push the visual arts further in Africa, especially, like I said, for young artists like you who are maybe globally unknown or unknown across the continent? What can we do? How can we support, right, in terms of making sure that we galvanize and we accelerate visual art in Tanzania?
Yes, first of all, I could give a notion to the government on the way they support other sectors. They could also support on paintings and art, on visual art.
Yes.
Because it's a very big thing. In outside the country,
yes,
this thing is very worth it. It's a golden thing.
Right.
I could say that. Yeah. Like Nigeria, I could say a lot of young artists in Nigeria, like very big artist, and now he's doing his art outside of his country. Now, if the government could support it inside the country, it could be a very big treasure. Now, I could say that our government shouldn't lose this thing. The good thing they have is just they need to support much with high effort. First of all, introducing these good centers, good centers for the kids, and these freelancers, they could support these freelancers on the just paying them, so that they can give this thing a life thing,
Yeah.
And also, I could give shout out much to the medias. We have big medias here in Tanzania. They could start on providing some, I could say, live videos, street videos on those people who are doing the arts, so that they can go globally.
Yeah.
And people outside of our country, they see like there is something in Tanzania.
Yeah.
That could help a lot. And also, we as artists, we could say that we need to go outside by using our own effort and touch every young artist's hand and say, hey, I can help you from where you are to a certain place, Yeah, just for the spiritual, the spiritually, and it's gonna be a good blessing, I could say that.
I think I really like what you say, but there's one thing that I think we should also add as a component to this, which is the private sector, like corporations. Just because as someone who's worked at, I think, one of the banks, or if not the bank with the largest art collection in the world, I think that the private sector also has a role to play in terms of supporting young artists.
Yeah.
And I know that at my financial institution, there was also a program, sort of a grant program that the institution had as well, to support young artists and to recognize artists who are doing great things in the arts. So I think that that's another avenue, because obviously there are lots of corporations in Africa and Tanzania.
Yes.
So, whether it be by having grant programs or also just purchasing art, right? Because you told me about how you made your first gallery sale. Yes, and we were very proud of that. So, providing platforms where artists can actually sell their art, exhibit, sell, and then purchasing that art as well, I think would be another medium for fostering and really developing the art.
Yeah, I could also say that people from outside the country who want to invest on art here in Tanzania, it's a very good thing, and they have to try.
Yeah.
They have to try, and they have to come and see. There's beautiful thing here in Tanzania. One of the best colorful art called Tingatinga.
Tingatinga?
Yeah, Tingatinga is a traditional art.
Okay.
Very beautiful one down here in Tanzania. It's very best thing here in Tanzania. Trust
Wow,
me.
that's something new I'm discovering. So you're going to have to share with me sort of pictures of the Tingatinga art so we can insert for people to see, because that's a new discovery I'm making myself. Because this is my second time in Tanzania. I think the last time when I came, I went to the National Museum. I went to a few places where, of course, like historical artifacts are there and there's some art there, but I did not learn about Tingatinga. So thanks for telling me about that.
And also, I could say that thanks to teachers, they once employed me that I was going there to teach them on doing this Tingatinga art.
Okay.
Shout out to them.
Okay. So you have to share with us your first sort of painting that sold at the gallery, and then you need to share with us the Tingatinga art. We'd really be interested in seeing that and learning more about it.
My first sold art, it was in Rangi Gallery. It was just a traditional art. A traditional art speaking about young people growing up with big frames. So that art, it was 30 to 60 centimeters, and it was charcoal drawing and also acrylic paints. I use different colors to show the vision of a young kid, and also I used the hands to show the growing up on what the growing up step,
Right.
and his vision on how he can become great.
Right. Yeah, you showed me that. So we're going to insert it here again for everyone to see. So I know that obviously that's like your first major success, and I hope that you have more beyond that.
Yeah.
So what are your aspirations in the next few months, in the next few years when it comes to your art and how to grow it further, right? So more gallery sales, how do you, what are you aspiring to?
First of all, I could say I'm preparing for my solo exhibition
Okay.
here in Dar es Salaam. I think I'm going to put it in public, and I will prepare the area, maybe Hayat Francais. I will talk to Hayat Francais. I will talk also to Randy Gallery to give me a space that I can do a gallery. And my title, it says about young female art, female people living in the society with their hard life, and also being my life being as an artist. So there's two things there: hard life passing to the young females here in Tanzania, and also my way to becoming a big artist.
A successful person, yes. So in terms of, let's just drill into what you mean by a hard life for young women in Tanzania. Could you elaborate more on that?
Yeah.
And also what your art is trying to depict. Is it trying to depict how they can come out of that? Or what is it exactly trying to depict in terms of a hard life for young women in Tanzania? What is the call to action?
Yes, I could say that, first of all, I want to give a knowledge to the society. You know, our art speaks more silent, you know, by observing, but it speaks a lot. Somebody can give a notion on his head, like this art says a lot about this, and this.
Yes.
More than I speaking about it, but you can say about the painting. You can learn a lot about it. So I want to show the expression, the hardness on the young females here in Tanzania, what they're passing.
Yes.
The young pregnants, they involve themselves on hardworking. They drop out from schools, pregnant, in young age getting themselves in relation, and others, they have to support their family with no straight structure of themselves.
Yeah.
I could say that.
Yeah. I think that's good to showcase, that particular aspect, right, of what young women are going through in Tanzania. But I think that it's really important to also look at the positive. So one thing I would encourage you to do, because you're still developing this concept and developing this exhibition, is also shine a light on the positive things that are happening in Tanzania. Shine a light on the positive things that women, young women, older women are doing. Their own success stories, right? Because we don't want a monolithic story of Africa. We don't want a monolithic story of Tanzania where it's that, okay, young women are going through all of these difficulties. There are also young women who are thriving, right?
Yes.
So I think it's also important to look into the society to see, okay, who are the business women? Who are the women who are thriving in finance, in technology, in art, right? Your fellow artists as well, in music, in acting, in cinema, just different aspects of the society, because we also want to make sure that as we're developing this art and we're putting it out to the world, we're providing a full sort of image of Africa, of Tanzania. So that's one thing that I would like to encourage you to do, is not just focus in on where there's still gaps to be filled, but also where people are showing that it is possible, where women are showing that it is possible, and we're doing it here in Tanzania. Because we should recognize that right now Tanzania has a female president, which is something that a lot of countries have not yet accomplished, right? So it means that there's something good that's happening. There are many good things that are happening. Women are getting well educated. Women are growing in the workplace. Women are ascending in terms of leadership. So I think you need to also showcase that, and I would really, really be interested in seeing the outcome of your exhibition.
December.
In December. Okay.
I love call you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. It's been great getting to know you, getting to know more about your art, your perspectives on sort of the art scene in Tanzania, what we need to do to develop it more, and also we look forward to your upcoming exhibition. So please do share your details with us. We are going to be following you on Instagram and any place where you are, and so we encourage those who are in Tanzania to attend Hassan's exhibition when it does occur in December. And for those of us who might not be here, we're going to be supporting online.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you as well. All right. And with that, we say bye-bye.
Bye.
And please do subscribe so you can get more of what we have in store. Thank you. Hello, it is me again. I hope you just enjoyed watching that wonderful interview with Hassani. I wanted to jump in here and outro this video because I think that just the conversation I had with Hassani, just the fact that I got to meet him is really quite instructive and just speaks to the beauty of the human experience and the experience of encountering human beings, different human beings, as I spoke to in one of my first videos, right, that I did for this new experience that we're living together, which is, all things honest with Clarisse. So, how did I meet Hassan? I met Hassan through his mom. That's really the beauty of the story. So we also shot that video in the place where I met his mom for the first time, which was during my first time in Tanzania, and that is White Sands Resort in Dar es Salaam. I met his mom when I had gone to check out the resort. It's one of the, I think, most pristine, beautiful beach areas there in Dar es Salaam. I would say nothing comparable to Zanzibar, but for the mainland, it's like very, very beautiful. And a lot of events take place there, weddings take place there, just a lot of things are going on at White Sand. So I had gone there with my friends to check it out, to just have a day lounging at the beach. And we were walking through a particular corridor, or at least I was walking through a particular corridor, and there was like a wedding reception taking place. And I remember at that time there was this very popular song by Diamond Platinums, and there was a young man who was dancing to the song, and we were just mesmerized, watching through basically the glass doors. And at some point while we were there, some people, hotel staff, approached us, and one of them was Hassan's mom. And at that time, I didn't even know all her children or that I would ever meet her children, right? So shout out to his mom, whose name is Mwanaeri, and she became my friend instantaneously. And I remember having this conversation with her, and I was complaining to her about how ever since I've been in Tanzania, I've been struggling to eat local food. That was a huge pain point for me, which I remember complaining about back then on my social media, on Instagram, and complaining about to practically everyone that I met, like who was a local, because I just kept looking for local food. And I say this as a Cameroonian because, well, obviously I'm African, so there's a certain taste palette that I have that I want to experience when I'm in Africa, irrespective of the country. I want to eat local cuisine. I need my fufu. I need heavy things. And I remember going to restaurants, and there was just a lot of fusion cuisine, and nothing against fusion cuisine. But when I'm in Africa, I want to eat African food. And I felt, and I'm saying this very truly and honestly, that the establishments, like fancy establishments or even just like regular restaurant establishments in Tanzania, were not doing enough to valorize like Tanzanian cuisine. And so I wasn't experiencing the depth of Tanzanian cuisine. I was experiencing, some Western cuisine, some fusion cuisine with, Indian inputs here, maybe some African inputs there, some Tanzanian inputs there. So it was just this blended cuisine, and that's not what I had in mind. Anyway, so when I met Mwanaeri at this hotel at White Sands, I told her that I really want to eat, ugali and nyama choma and whatever, vegetables, just anything. Like I want to know what Tanzanian food is. And so that was amongst other things we talked about, but that's the most prominent thing that was on my mind. So anyway, she gave me her contact, I gave her mine, and we I guess started being in communication while I was there. And um, Monaeri decided to actually invite me over to her house to eat Tanzanian delicacies. So she literally consecrated a day and she cooked for me. This lady cooked Tanzanian cuisine for me and invited me to her home. And I did venture out to go to her home, except for I didn't quite make it there. It was really disappointing. So what happened? Here I am And I think I was in Masaki, which is a part of Dar es Salaam. That's where I was, and I had to venture north, even I think past the White Sands Resort, so that area. So like after Mbezi Beach, I am very specific about the areas so that those who are watching who know what I'm talking about, would know the vicinities I'm talking about. So you go past there and you go into sort of into the depths of like northern Dar es Salaam. And anyway, she had described, in Africa, someone would say, when you get to this roundabout, there is X, Y, and Z here. There is this tree here. There is this, that. There is this, that. When you get there, drop and then call me and I'll come get you from there, or whatever she had told me, some sort of instruction. And I got to the set place and I was trying to get Monairi on the phone. And unfortunately, that day, the network was not cooperating. We tried calling each other back and forth, but each time the line would drop, and it was not possible for me to obviously like find her house by myself. And so I basically reached a dead end. And after like, I think probably 20 minutes of back and forth and not really being able to have consistent communication to even get a full sentence of instructions from her, I had to leave the place where I was, the junction where I think she had told me to drop off or anything like that, which I was instructed to do. So I had to leave, unfortunately, without eating all the cuisine that she had labored, to cook for me. And I was really disappointed. I went home, which that in itself, where I was living and the setup in which I was living, that's really a story in itself. Because it was during COVID times, and I got to meet people coming to Tanzania as one of the countries that was open at that time from different places, Switzerland, Germany. Um, Tanzanians coming as well from abroad. I think there was someone from Norway there, then myself, my friends from the States. So that was an experience as well. And I think I can touch on that another time. Just that in itself being a very beautiful experience, getting to sort of exchange with different people. Anyway, went back home and had to fend for myself. So um what happened subsequently, on the day before I had to leave back to the States, Mana Eri reached out to me and invited me to her sister's wedding. And I was like, oh my God, I could go to a Tanzanian wedding. And I was just like, oh, I wish this could happen for me. And mind you, I really had to get back to the States because I had a very important international like event that I had to deliver, and it was important for me to get back. However, there was almost a near opportunity for me to miss that and stay back and get to do all these other things with like the local friends that I had made. I remember my flight got delayed and subsequently canceled on the day that I was supposed to leave. And that night there was a Diamond Platinums concert happening. I was just like, you know what? Let's just forget about going back to America and go to this Diamond Platinum concert. And I was hoping that I wouldn't find a solution, like in the sense of getting a new flight, so that I could have an excuse to tell my work that, hey, I'm stuck here. So I could go to the Diamond Platinums concert and to the wedding and all of these things. But that didn't happen. I ended up finding an alternate flight to get on, and I did end up leaving much later that day, but I left. So this is now 4 years later, and here I am getting ready to go back to Tanzania again. It wasn't really even premeditated or planned that I would go back in this year, 4 years after my first visit. It just happened. So, and I didn't even know I was ever going to go back, right? It's just serendipity. So, anyway, I planned another trip to Tanzania, and a few weeks leading up to it, I reached out to Mwanaeri, and this had been many years that we had not communicated. Although I had told her to be my Swahili teacher, but we didn't keep up. So now I reach out to her and I'm like, Mwanaeri, do you remember me? Da 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 da. Like, you remember we met? Da 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 da. And she's like, my friend. And she's like, please send me a picture to trigger my memory. And I sent her a picture that I took at White Sands. And when she saw that, she was like, oh my God, I've missed you so much. Like, yo, you're coming back. I can't wait to see you. And all of that. So, um, anyway, There are different things that I had planned with Monaeri when I did go to Dar es Salaam. And on this occasion, finally, I did get to go to her home. She literally had to come collect me from where I was. She met me actually at the ferry station. We went to my Airbnb together, and from there, we subsequently went to her house where she had prepared delicious food. And if anyone saw me posting about some very well flavored, like the best flavored rice I have ever eaten, it's Mona Aries rice, and she's taught me a secret to making plain white rice so flavorful. If you want to know that secret, ask me in the comments and I will give you the ingredients that you need to create a very, very flavorful white rice. So, nonetheless, I ended up at Monaire's home this time, and we had a delicious dinner, and I, got to eat very delicious things. And more importantly, I got to meet her son, Hassan, whom we just spoke with here, and some of her other children. Um, Now, I didn't even know about Hassan. I didn't know that he was an artist and all of these things. And so the trigger for that conversation, or this conversation we just watched to happen, occurred just the night before when I went there and I met him, and he was talking to me about his art, and I was just listening to him, and I was just like, I need to have a conversation with you that others will have the privilege to listen to, right? Because we need to hear from more voices like yours, and you're a budding artist and you have so much room to grow, and we should all be part of that growth, and we should be part of that appreciation of your understanding and your approach to art, and also your understanding of its place in Tanzania's development and Africa's development and just global development. So that's how that conversation happened. Now, if you keenly watch the video, you would notice that it was shot towards evening time, at almost night, after the sun had set, and we really struggled to get you guys this conversation. So please do appreciate it. Please do share it, because we were at White Sands Resort in Basie Beach, as I said, and we wanted to do this whole thing with like the beach backdrop and all whatnot. And on that day, which is, like I said, the following day after we met, there were two weddings taking place simultaneously and a birthday party taking place in different areas of the resort. So there was noise everywhere, everywhere. And as everyone knows, when I was in Tanzania, I didn't yet have all these gadgets for noise cancellation, still throwing shade at you guys. So it was just impossible to shoot a video anywhere along the beach. So we had to scout for a location, and finally we went inside where sort of the actual hotel residence is, and there was a little garden area somewhere that kind of kept noise at a bay. And so we planted ourselves there, and we're like, we need to do this. Like, it doesn't matter, I have to fly out tomorrow, so we need to get this done because we have no other option. It's not optimal, but this is what we're going to do. So we sat there, and little did we know that once the sun set and evening hit, mosquitoes were going to come out from the very beautiful garden that surrounded us. So as we're sitting there, you will notice us rubbing our hands like this because we're trying so hard. Our feet are getting bitten by mosquitoes. I think I left that place with 100 mosquito bites. It was that bad, and probably Hassan the same, but it was all worth it. And I hope that you guys very much did enjoy the conversation. And if you saw us swatting our hands, that's exactly what was happening to us. So that's how important it was for me to do this and to trigger this conversation and to make sure that we were able to deliver this to you guys. So we are working hard out here to create these meaningful conversations. So please do subscribe, please do like, please do comment, please do share. And before you leave, I just want to inform you as well that Hassan, who is based in Dar es Salaam, amongst other things, and amongst being an artist himself, he's also an art instructor for younger kids. So he does have art classes that he offers, and I am going to insert his flyer somewhere here so that you can grab that information. And I'll also leave his details in the description box so that you can follow him and you can stay in touch with all his current and future projects. And so, with that, thank you once more. And please go out there, meet people, talk to people. Very many beautiful things await you in the world beyond your current reality. Thank you. Bye bye.